Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. We are back again with Cozy to talk about Benjamin Sesko this time. The Slovenian international is likely to be the Arsenal's first signing this transfer window. But the question is it the answer to fill our striking situation? Or do you think we should have been going for someone else? Cozy, how are you, man?
I'm okay. It's been a long day, especially with the Benjamin Sesko story dropping. I didn't expect it to drop this early. I thought it would be in the first week of June because we expected a decision. But it's just given me a lot of hope that we're going to do some early business. So it's a good day. I mean, you get some good news like that as an Arsenal fan, despite the fact that we didn't win anything and Man United went away with an FA Cup. They are really talking on my head.
Yeah, we need to sort that one out next season. So the real question is, will Benjamin Sesko be the guy to help us over the line? Now, John Cross of the Mirror reported earlier yesterday night that Benjamin Sesko favors a move to Arsenal this summer. Arsenal now appear to be in pole position for the 45 million rated forward. Now, expected. The reaction has been different. Some Arsenal fans like it. Some Arsenal fans don't like it. I think it's kind of 50-50. Some people think, listen, as long as we get a striker, but some people are like, no, we needed a 100 million striker. So the moment you saw that news breaking, Cozy, what was your first thought? Or you're like, oh, man, I'm not sure about this. Or you're like, listen, we are getting a striker. I'm happy about this.
Well, for me, I think the story on Kai Havertz was very credible from The Athletic and Fabrizio that Arsenal are looking to keep Kai Havertz as their main centre forward. So when I saw Ben Sesko and I looked at his profile and I looked at his price range, I was like, yeah, this is the profile they're looking at. This is the striker that Arsenal are going to be really hell-bent on. Now, as a player, I am not 100% sold on, and I think people, in both, on both channels will have to know this. I'm not 100% sold on to Ben Sesko. I think it will take some time. And in my heart, I have something that is a little bit itchy. I would prefer someone better or prefer someone more established. So I can't say the story is keeping me off my feet or stripping me off my feet. I think I'm one of those people that are having mixed reactions. Not a bad player, but we could have done better. I still have that we could have done better side.
So your reaction was one of a bit of disappointment.
Yeah, a bit of disappointment. There is a bit of disappointment. There is a bit of excitement because he's a new player and we can only know after unwrapping him and seeing him in Arsenal colours. And then there is that bit of disappointment that maybe we could have done better. Maybe, why not Gyökeres? Why not Alexander Isak? There is still that point of why not this one? Why not that one?
Now, if all of them were of the same price, if all of them were like that cheaper price and we went for Sesko, I'd be like, yeah, why not Isak? Why not Gyökeres? Those are the first two strikers I would have wanted. Yeah. But I do understand why we are not, why we might not get them. And in terms of being disappointed in signings, nowadays I'm never disappointed in signings because I've seen Arsenal fans being disappointed about Ramsdale, being disappointed about Ben White joining and not Varane. I remember very well. People are like, you're signing Ben White instead of Varane. It worked out differently. Same with the Odegaard. We're signing Odegaard instead of Maddison. What are we doing? Yeah. What are this? All of them. Trossard, why we failed on Mudryk, Chelsea have beaten us on them, and all of them have worked. And there's so many others that we can talk about. So I'm never really disappointed because most of them have worked. So for this one, yes, it's not going to get people excited totally, and it's not going to get Man City like, oh my goodness, Arsenal have signed Sesko. But as long as at the end they do know why they're signing him and how he's going to fit into our team, I'm totally okay with it. Now, for that kind of price, you get what you pay for sure. And a good example of that was Ranasson. If you pay 2 million for a goalkeeper, you're going to get exactly what you pay for. But for a striker who has scored goals, as you said, in terms of how he's going to fit into the team, let's speak about the Havertz situation first, because I posted the earlier video and people are like, nah, Havertz needs to be sold. You need Sesko and another striker. I'm like, nah, man, Havertz cannot be sold. I need to know why you want Havertz to be sold, because he contributed to every single goal and assist between January and May. So he's definitely going to be part of the team. Now, Sesko was actually asked, in terms of, they did say a couple of months ago, he was actually told by Tenedu, you're going to come to Arsenal, but you're not going to be a starting striker. And now it seems like he's agreed on that. He's like, I'm totally fine with that. He's agreed with the terms. How do you think it would work out between the two of them? At Arsenal, do you think we're going to see rotation, or we are going to see both of them on the pitch at the same time? Because personally, I feel like there's a chance we could see both of them on the pitch at the same time, and people will not like it. But I feel like Havertz is going to play midfield a few times.
Well, actually, that's where the disappointment comes from on my case, and also on in the case of many Arsenal fans. So how it's going to play out, it's exactly how John Cross has said it, and I believe him. Arsenal are
Yeah.
looking for a striker that's going to work in tandem with Kai Havertz, and in tandem is the key word. We are looking for someone who is going to share minutes with Kai Havertz, but also someone who's going to be more of a supporter. It's going to play a
Yeah.
supportive role. The one thing I don't like about having SESKO and Kai on the same page is what we've just talked about. Kai Havertz dropping into midfield, right? It feels like, okay, we are back again, square one, same old days. Kai Havertz being forced into midfield. I think we found a good place for him. We found a position where he can absolutely be, successful, very, very impactful for the team.
So you don't want him in midfield completely?
I completely don't want him in field. I want Arsenal to go out there and sign a number 6, because if Declan Rice has got 16 GA, 16 or around 17 GA in his first campaign, he's going to do better. If he knows that he's got a permanent DM behind him, he's actually going to do better in that position. And I also want us to respect the left-hand side. I mean, it's not a joke. It's not a joke that Man City can create chances on both sides of the pitch. It's not a joke that teams can easily block off Arsenal on the right-hand side, and then our game is dead a little bit. That is coming with the fact that we've not created reliable partnerships on the left-hand side. So with SESKO and Kai, it is more of a symbiotic relationship. It's going to be more of, you benefit from me, I benefit from you. I think before the end of the season, we had talked about Kai Havertz, and we had equated him to Thomas Muller before. And we said, Thomas Muller and Kai Havertz are the same. You get a striker will benefit from them, but they will massively benefit from, a striker arriving at the club. And I agree with you. We are going to see both of them play at Arsenal lots of the time. Because what Mikel knows is a player like Kai Havertz needs, players that shine in order for him to ghost into spaces, in order for him to go unnoticed and run into spaces, especially in the penalty area. So Ben SESKO is the perfect player for you to actually do that. Now, is that going to cost something on the left-hand side still? Because I don't see Saka dropping out. I think, definitely. I think we might see Declan Rice, Julian Timber, and instead of Leandro Trossard or Martinelli, we might see one of Kai Havertz or Ben SESKO, up front. So there will be changes, and there will be someone who is affected. Martinelli could be affected. Trossard could be affected. But I see those two, Kai Havertz and Ben and SESKO, playing together in games. I see them, thriving off one another. I don't think it's competition. I don't think it's about who is the better guy. It's about how can they complement each other better.
Now, that is one way it can be. It can work, like SESKO up front, or one way Arteta could use it at Havertz up front and SESKO, or Havertz in the middle and then SESKO up front. Now, Team News and Ticks reported that Arteta was trying to convince Benjamin SESKO to join Arsenal, but he was doubting it because he was told that you're going to play either on the wing or as Kai Havertz's backup. Now, that's the other way it could work. As you said, it could affect Martinelli. It could affect him another way. It could be on the bench. And could we see Benjamin SESKO on the left side and Havertz up front? Could he be the answer to our left side, not Liao and Kvashile? Could they be using SESKO there?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that Mikel is trying to replicate what we are seeing on the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Anyone who has eyes has actually seen that. He wants the left-hand side to be more of a goal-scoring side as compared to the right-hand side. And when we think about the numbers that the left-hand side has produced over the last 2 seasons, how many did Trossard get? 11. This season, how many did Martinelli get? Was it around 7 or 5?
Yeah, quite. I know it was below 10, so very many.
It was below 10. 7. So when you combine that, when you combine the minutes between Martinelli and Trossard, we've got around 17 goals in the Premier League, 18 goals in the Premier League. But think about this: where are the real quality chances at Arsenal falling? How many chances did Gabriel Martinelli get this season? And we've said he should be barring that. He should be barring that. He should be barring that. A lot of them. So we are cooking a lot on the right-hand side. And yes, goals are coming from the right-hand side, but opportunities are coming more from the right-hand side, and they're finished on the left-hand side, right? So I think that is what Mikel wants. He wants to create the left-hand side as a goal scoring, as a goal scoring, side. And I think that is what we're going to see. I don't think SESKO is coming to be a number 9 like Erling Haaland. I don't see him do that. I think he's going to be more of a Sadio Mane in a Jurgen Klopp system where he had Mane and Firmino and Salah. So he's going to be more of our Sadio Mane. He's going to be on the left-hand side. He's going to have a lot of freedom to come inside because Kai Havertz is never in the penalty area. He doesn't want to be there, right? He wants to either arrive later or pull away most of the time. So there will be chances for him to get there. Like you think about Saka. Is Saka one guy that you're saying every time the ball is in the penalty area, he's going to be there to tap it in? No. Kai Havertz is going to score for you a tap in. Yes, he scored a tap in. I think was it what? Was it Sheffield, Luton, or maybe But he doesn't. Yeah. He's not always
even Everton on the last day.
Even Everton on the last day. But if you want that person, that player that naturally has got the instinct to start from out wide, but his education and whatever he's been taught is to always make sure he run to the back post, always make sure he run to the penalty area. That is Ben SESKO. So I see him on the flank, a little bit on the edges, but his finishing position is always going to be in the middle.
Now, in terms of people will ask, does he have the pace for the wing? We'll talk about his qualities a little bit later. But in terms of pace, he actually does have a lot of pace, surprisingly. So I can actually show you guys this on screen. So a couple of years ago, it was reported that the teenager has the pace to match, with his top speed having been clocked at 36.1 kilometers per hour against Donbin in April. To put that in context, that is almost identical to the speed Kylian Mbappe reaches at full tilt. So that's crazy. So maybe you're thinking only about the goals and stuff, but I'd say it's looking at different things. As you said, if you're creating more chances from the right side and putting in crosses, and then it's dropping on Havertz and SESKO, bullying the defenders, both of them at the same time. But even the pace. Now, it depends on what kind of wing you want. Are you happy with this? Would you just want SESKO to play in number 9? You just want a number 9 striker? Or are you happy to get, as number 9 who can play on different wings? Because for me, a couple of years ago, I wanted a striker who can also play on the wings. But recently it has changed because we have now players like Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka, and all those guys who can play on the wings. I'm like, I just want someone who's as a number 9 that you don't have. But how do you feel personally?
Well, the profile that he brings to the table is a very interesting profile. Now, for me personally, if you offered me the chance to sign Karim Benzema, even before his prime, I would. Like, if this was Karim Benzema, if this was the striker that Karim Benzema was, I don't know, 20 years ago when he was younger, or 25 years ago when he was younger, I would really love the profile. I thought Arsenal needed someone that only thinks about that ball hitting the back of the net. I don't think that's what Benjamin SESKO is. He's a prolific number 9. He's a prolific player, and we will enjoy him and we'll watch him. But does he think and reason only back of the net? I don't think so, right? I think he's a pacey guy. He's got that some skill set and technical ability. So he'll want to take off players and take them on. I've seen him in goal scoring positions where he's decided to first take off a player and then shoot. Now, in the German Bundesliga and the Austrian Bundesliga, if that's what it's called, you will get that time. But in the Premier League, you will not get that time. Imagine you're going against RK, Diaz, and Walker. Walker is pace, Diaz is energy and and physicality, and Nathan Ake is very good at positioning and tackles and sliding in. Do you think you can beat Walker, you beat Diaz, and beat Nathan Ake unless you have Messi level technical ability, right? That you can beat them by one move. You're literally not going to have that. So that's why I say I understand the people that have a little bit of disappointment in the Benjamin SESKO move, because I am also 30% on that side, right? Because what did we need this season? And we talked about it yesterday when we talked about Gyökeres and Lautaro Martinez. What did Arsenal miss? We missed a guy that can score lousy goals. We miss the guy that can score goals that have come from a very good run to the back post rather than a very good shot, or rather than a very, very good, sprint. I still think that there is something missing there. I still think that in terms of profile, I would have still wanted my, dear old Adebayo, because Adebayo is not going to, take you to the wing and, embarrass you, but he will power that header in the within 4 yards, and even you feel like, and like an Olivier Giroud. By the way, Olivier Giroud has gone on to make a very big career, after Arsenal. But look at what he's doing. Look at he's just become the striker he wasn't when he was a little bit younger, right? He's understood positioning as a striker, and he's understood where to be at the right time, and that is what good strikers do. I mean, whenever you are there, the ball will always find its way to you, right? As simple as that. So the profile is the only reason I will give people, doubting Ben SESKO, including myself. That is the only reason. But in terms of the other aspects, it is what we have been seeing at Arsenal. I think John Cross said that Arsenal are not going to sign. Was it Sammy Makbo or John Cross who said Arsenal are not signing a superstar? And then today, I was actually thinking about it. And I said, when have Arsenal really been big on superstars? Yes, there's been Declan Rice, Alexis Sanchez. Was he a superstar by the time he joined Arsenal? I would argue that we made him a superstar. So Ozil, it's been just a few, right? It's been just a few players that would say they're superstar status and they've come at Arsenal. So I'm not disappointed that Arsenal is signing a superstar, because that is not our way. That's not how we do it. I'm just disappointed that the profile is not more of a traditional 9 who is comfortable with scoring boring goals and just walking away with golden boots every single season.
I hear you. For me, I just want a striker who can score goals. Yes, Gyökeres and Isaac would be my top options ahead of SESKO, but I still would say, because everyone says we didn't win the league or we didn't win this because of the striker. That's why when you talked about the priorities in terms of positions, I said midfield is still my priority, because I feel, yes, we need a striker. But the main thing, the main reason I say we need a striker is because that is like 1 or 2 positions in the team that I feel can continue to be improved on. I've always said I feel like Saliba is the best in this position. You can't really get someone else right now and drop Saliba. I don't think you can really drop Gabriel and bring someone else. Same with Odegaard, same with Rice, and same with Saka, a lot of other different positions. So the only positions I can listen to is like, maybe left back you can get someone who's, like a Robertson in his prime or Roberto Carlos in his prime, fine. But I look at the strike, I'm like, okay, we are scoring goals, because I'm still not convinced that Arsenal lost the title because of we didn't have a strike. I'm still not convinced, because we got 88 goals and 90 goals plus twice in a row. I know you have the opinion of a couple of chances dropped to the likes of Ben White in the Champions League, and we didn't. Those are the reasons we didn't win that game. But I still look at it like, if Gabriel didn't make that mistake, we still win that game at the Emirates. If we didn't give away that penalty,
but the thing is, the thing is, when you look at the number of goals Arsenal scored, in the second part of the season, Arsenal scored a lot of goals that were surplus, what we'll call surplus goals, right?
Lower XG.
Yeah, exactly. But when you think about, we need a goal, we need someone to be there. We need, let's talk about Everton and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Because Dominic Calvert-Lewin somehow showed up from nowhere, and he scored important goals for them, and they were beyond, they were beyond safety. I want to point to someone like Chris Wood at Nottingham Forest this season. I want to point to someone like Taiwo Awoniyi at Nottingham Forest last season. That is what I'm talking about. I want to point to a striker. I want a goal against Aston Villa, because we missed chances in that first half, and those chances were sitter chances. So the goals I'm talking about are actually not amount. The goals Arsenal should be thinking about are goals when it matters. Now, the times when players do their jobs. At Bayern, the defense let us down. But you can argue that Arsenal's defense has been very consistent across the season. So does it mean that the defense can bail us out, but we cannot bail it out? We should be able to bail it out, right? How many goals did Bayern score, really? They scored 3 across 2 games. Arsenal have got the ability, and we must have the ability, to score 3 goals in 2 games against Bayern, because the weekend before that, Haydenham had come from 2 goals down to
Scored four.
win 3-2. Was it
3-2.
4-2?
3 or
3-2.
4. There's another game they lost 4-2, I think.
Exactly. So to win 3-2 against Bayern Munich in a single leg. So that's what I'm talking about. And Arsenal didn't fail to create these chances, right? That is a typical example of a game where Arsenal's departments did their jobs, and there was one department as well that was lacking because there's no one there, right? So Fulham, West Ham, Bayern, those are games where Arsenal created lots of chances. So the midfield and the wing backs did their job. Arsenal conceded 2 goals. So I wouldn't really say, this is the end of the world. Arsenal conceded very, very many goals in those games. Not really. 2 goals, you can counter that. If you had 33 shots on goal and you didn't convert any, or you converted 1, what was the problem? If you have Martin Odegaard creating 2.5 chances in per 90 in games, and in that particular game he had 4 big chances created, and they fell onto players who didn't convert them, where was the problem? The problem was, was the department, and that department needs reinforcement.
I would answer that by saying, I feel bad days can happen. There's a chance even if Gyökeres and Isaac were in the same team as well, they could have missed the 3 chances as well. But those bad days can happen. And I also feel like maybe the Sakas and the Odegaards missing those chances, maybe it's just a bad day. They're not going to do it like 3-4 times in a row. I feel like that period between West Ham, Fulham, and Liverpool was a weird one, where we had Havertz missing, Saka missing, Martinelli missing, Odegaard missing. I feel like it is a weird one. Yes, if we have a striker, we can probably score 100+ goals this season. I definitely understand what you're saying in terms of that. Again, to also talk about SESKO, I feel like he can score those goals. If you're talking about him converting, I feel like he can still score those goals. Yes, he's not a Gyökeres or an Isaac, but he's used to scoring goals more than any of our players. So if you place him in that central striker position, he can do it. Now, a couple of years ago, even after Giroud left Chelsea, I actually wanted him back at Arsenal because I felt like I just want someone there. Maybe now with different players surrounding him, and now with the better defense behind, it could be different. In terms, he also fits into our aerial ability and all that. Now, yes, and Isaac would have made a huge difference. Gyökeres would have made a huge difference. But maybe SESKO comes in and makes a huge difference. But I still say I don't think Arsenal lost the title because of not scoring goals. Yes, a couple of other things went wrong in a couple of other situations. Maybe if we don't make a mistake against Fulham defensively, we still win the title. But yes, one of the positions we can improve on is the striker position. So I definitely agree with that.
It's a massive improvement. I said it today. It's a massive improvement because you have SESKO, who is better than any other striker at Arsenal right now. He's better than Gabriel Jesus in terms of being clinical. He's better than Kai Havertz, who's not even a striker in the first place. And he's better than Edin Ketia. There's no question about that. Yeah. But I have a question that I have in my head. At the moment, we have Edin Ketia, who is very, very, upgradable. And anyone sees him as upgradable. Would you be okay if I went out there and I brought in Danny Welbeck
right now and keep as a replacement for Nketiah?
For Edin Ketia?
I wouldn't, because I feel like whatever Welbeck is offering us, we already have in terms of pace and all that. I want something that we don't have.
Exactly. But Welbeck has signed 2 back-to-back, deals at Brighton. For being one of the very, very, pillars in that team. The way they play, he's such a magnificent player in their playing style. So the thing with Ben SESKO is the kind of signing he is makes a lot of sense. But the kind of impact we anticipate for him to bring at Arsenal is a little bit questionable for me, right? Now, in terms of what Mikel wants to do, you can see the idea, right? But there's a reason as to why a team like Bayern have a Thomas Muller who averages 25 goal and assists every single season almost. And then they poach Robert Lewandowski. And just look at the profile of strikers they've had over the years. Like Robert Lewandowski, no one should have Robert Lewandowski and Thomas Muller in the same team. That should be against the rules of engagement in the game. That should be suicidal. That should be criminal. But it's not even that. They've had a Mario Mandzukic. They've had a Mario
Gomez.
Gomez, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they might have a Mario Gomez. And I'm like, what are they even trying to do? They already own the German Bundesliga. So for me, I would have wanted that period where Arsenal go and make a Robert Lewandowski kind of signing. I would have wanted a Mario Mandzukic kind of signing, like that kind of player that comes in, and we all are, we all know this is what this boy does. This is what he actually does, and this is what he wants to do. I don't think many Arsenal fans. I don't think any Arsenal fans ever asked, but what does Declan Rice do? I mean, if anyone asked, just leave football. It's not your sport. Cricket is your sport. Badminton, you can watch Netflix and chill. That is your area. You leave football this very minute. I think when we brought in a player like Odegaard, many people were doubtful. And this is why Arsenal, many people were doubtful with Odegaard. He had shown us the potential, like SESKO. We know that the potential is there and it's a massive talent. But it was a 50-50, coin. It was a toss of a coin. He either comes good or it is a 30 million, pound mistake. Now he came good. He's the captain. And that's why we've got to give Benjamin SESKO a chance. That's why I go, yes, there's a 40% that is not sure. But yes, let's go with what? Let's go with a 60%.
And also on top of that, I feel like I also trust Edu and Atita a lot because of the signings that they make. So even if they say we're going to sign our knee, I'd be like, maybe they've seen something because it has worked with all the players. And I know we are so close. I know we'd have had 2 Premier League titles if it wasn't for Guardiola. I feel like we're so close. Maybe a few things need to work on, like the cup competitions. You mentioned the likes of Wood and Awoni. Would that mean we would take a Wood right now ahead of a SESKO?
No. I wouldn't take Wood.
If he was younger, if you're 5 years younger.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't take Wood, and I wouldn't take Awoni. I think they're constrained in certain ways. I think Arsenal needs a full package striker, a full package player, not striker, but full package player. Like when you look at Robert Lewandowski and the range of goals that he scores, and maybe you've seen the skill set and compilation of Ben SESKO. The one thing that I loved about it, and his clips, he has a real big range of goals that he can score. Like he can finish in very many ways. So with Chris Wood, I think is limited in a little bit, and I think with Taiwo Awoniyi is powerful but limited in many other parts of his game. But when we think about SESKO, there is pace. It's there. There is there is the finishing in terms of 1v1. It's good. He's come in
6'5".
Exactly, height as well. So he's got a bigger range of what he can do as compared to Taiwo Awoniyi and Chris Wood. So whoever is doubting, the reasons are very clear, right? The profile is modern striker, stroke modern winger, stroke modern forward. And I think what most of us anticipated was Gyökeres, Martinez, Osimhen, modern stroke traditional number 9, a guy that just comes in to think about goals, right? I think with SESKO, if he doesn't score, but he can still have a good game. Now, I want a striker who, when he doesn't score, it's over. There's no good game.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a bit like Arteta because over the years I've always wanted a striker who can also contribute to assists. Now, not because Haaland would score 40 goals with 1 assist. And that's why I was saying someone like a Gyökeres, I like him because, both goals, assists. And SESKO also kind of does that because if he plays on the wing and also, brings something different in terms of pace, of 6'5" striker with pace, very few can have that. He's physical in terms of, strength, very strong in terms of the headers and all that. I've seen him scoring from a couple of corners as well. In terms of through balls, as you said, very, very good. Now, in terms of numbers, he didn't really score that many last season, 14 goals in 31 matches. Now, he doesn't always start because Leipzig have different options. They have different options in those forward line. Who's their top scorer? Is it he's the Belgian, I think the Belgian guy who always scores goals. Openda. Yeah, he always scores goals. So sometimes maybe they rotate. But I feel like SESKO could not be your choice. But if he signs, I'd be like, I think we've added something that we don't have. So I'd be like, okay, let's see.
Actually, talk about. Thank you so much for talking about for talking about Openda. I think. And I don't know why, but I think Openda would do a much better job than Benjamin SESKO in the short run, I think he would do a much better job, because when you look at his game, it's a very, very wide, wide ranged game.
Yeah.
He's got so many facets to his game. His pace is unreal, absolutely unreal. But his finishing, is also top. But I think Mikel Arteta might think this is another Gabriel Martinelli. This is a Gabriel Martinelli. If I polish Martinelli with his pace, directness, and finishing, because apart from this season, Martinelli has been Arsenal's top finisher in the previous seasons, especially when it comes to conversion rate. I would even say that his conversion rate has been above 35%, because there are many times I don't see him miss chances. But this season, I've seen him miss more chances than ever, and that could be the Leandro Trossard effect of pressure and at times panicking rather than using it to his advantage. But look, I want you to know your thoughts on Openda. Do you think in the short run he would just be a much better fit than SESKO?
Now, there's a game I think Openda absolutely destroyed Man City, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
I think he destroyed them
scored
at the
twice.
80th Stadium. That he scored twice. That I think he even scored at Leipzig as well, a goal and stuff. I like him this season. This season is when I really watched him a lot, and I do like him. I see what you're saying. He's a very good striker. I've also seen him playing a couple of times for his country. He's a very good striker. Now, obviously, in terms of league games, you haven't really watched everything in detail. Now, Openda looks to me like a player who's going to really focus more on playing as a centre forward, rather than like a SESKO is going to play on the wings and stuff. Openda would probably want to play as a centre forward. I see what you're saying. Like, he could be a better signing. Even maybe someone like the Stuttgart striker, Goressi, maybe players like that. Yeah. Maybe they could be better. But again, 180 pages of things they're looking at. I'd really like to see what Edu and Arteta have in that book. They're probably looking at what his personality is, what his combination with the left back would be, what his combination with the number 10 would be, how his fitness is, would he be happy to come on the bench, off the bench in a game against like Man City means to go 0-0? Can he come on and get a goal for us? They're probably looking at all of those things. So he's going to be a debate as always. But as I say, they really trust they really trust Edu. Now, the fact that he could play as a winger and he's actually accepted the personal terms, even though Arteta and Edu have told him you could play as a wing and have what's up front, it has got me worried about one player. Jesus. I want him to stay at Arsenal, but I feel like the way things are going, I feel like he could leave. Do you think he's going to be affected? Do you think he's going to feel like SESKO's coming? I think I need to move on.
Now, I think he will stay for one more season. I think Arsenal will not push him out. I think he'll stay for one season. And I think he's one of those players that back themselves. I think he believes in himself very much. And I don't see him quaking to the idea of a player like Benjamin SESKO, who is just turning 21, joining. However, we have seen it with Mikel. When he brings in a new player, someone elsewhere will suffer the consequences. The food chain is going to be disrupted when we add a new layer. And I think with this food chain, we have not seen so many things that have disrupted the food chain in terms of forwards at Arsenal. It's been more of defenders and midfielders, and goalkeepers, of course, who have been very unfortunate. But in terms of the next 2 summers, this summer and next summer, strikers and forwards are going to really have to prove their worth to Mikel Arteta. So I think Gabriel Jesus is even going to get less minutes as compared to what he did get last season, especially if he's unlucky that and Benjamin SESKO. Actually, it's not even about luck. If SESKO doesn't prove right away, I still think that Mikel will try to play him, through that patch of rough form, like we've seen with Kai. And even if he plays well straight away, Mikel Arteta is going to be like, "This is my guy. This is why I signed you. I knew I was right about you." And what do we know about Mikel? If he gets a very good starting 11, he's going to play them for 20 games.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. It's going to be interesting, man. This is the transfer window is not even open, and things are already escalating. So let's see in the comment section.
And also, Glenn, the real casualty that we should be, scared for is Gabriel Martinelli, because this should be his makeup season. This should be the season where Gabriel Martinelli says, "I did some 15 a season ago. I am going to do a 16, or I'm going to do a 17." But he's seated there probably, wherever he's in Brazil, and he's listening to the radio. I don't know what language they speak down there. And SESKO has agreed to join Arsenal. Potentially, a player who is going to, do what we thought Martinelli does. a support striker, a player who can, cut inside and, run into the penalty area a lot of the time, and a player who can also play on the wings. That is Gabriel Martinelli's position. That is, where he should be playing. Now, in the long run, I think SESKO and Martinelli can coexist it. But in the short run, with Leandro Trossard being the super sub, I don't think Trossard is going to lose his super sub status with those numbers. I mean, he's already created enough pedigree for himself for 2 back-to-back seasons. So it's Martinelli that I'm scared for. What happens with him? He's been tried on the right-hand side. I'm sorry. Thank you. No, it doesn't work. He should be on the left-hand side. But with SESKO coming in, I mean, unless Kai is not dropping anytime soon.
I hope it goes the way that we want it to go. Personally, I want Jesus and Martinelli obviously both to stay, and I hope it goes like the way Man City use their players. Man City have Grealish, they have Doku, they have Foden, they have Bernardo Silva. All of them get some playing time here in their Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. All of them play significant minutes. So let us know in the comment section. I'll also put a poll. Who are you worried for the most? Who should we be worried for the most with Benjamin SESKO coming in? Should it be Gabriel Jesus or Martinelli, or maybe even both if you go for another forward player? Let us know in the comment section.